Hello, everyone, and welcome to another one of our Natives co-stream. I'm Lisa, and I'll be your host tonight. As usual, I'm not alone. We have here the beast, our own Mr. Zeth, and a heavy-to-carry sandbag. Good evening, guys. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here yet again with Natives because yesterday was an absolute banger between us and Verdun. That game went for 40 minutes long. We did actually come out below, but what an incredible time that was.
Ah, Sandbag, do you want to say hi before we jump into the drafts?
Yeah. Hi. I'm happy to be here, and I'm ready to load on in as soon as we can.
So let's go, and I'll see you after the game.
We're lucky that
All
we get
right.
to talk to Lisa behind the scenes. I feel like she was just there. Now she's gone. Now we're in draft. Next thing you know, we're going to be in game. Natives are going to win, and it's going to be the quickest stream of our lives.
Yeah, we're just looking to get in there, get that 1-1, completely wipe the taste of yesterday out, and move on with our day. But in order to get there, pick spans on your screen. Azir Ash gonna be taken away for the blue side. Maokai selected, trying to fly through things as best we can. Standard so far, rel flexibility. It's familiar faces, honestly.
Okay, Sandbag, do you know what we played last time against Nord where we lost? This
What did we play
exact
last
bot
time?
lane. We played Varus, we played Rel, and the person to take over this game was a Jin. So, fortunately, Jin has not been locked in, so Nord are not in the position to do what they did to us last time. For everybody at home, we did lose in the last game when we went against them. However, it was very close, and we were brand new at this. And I feel like this Natives roster has got stronger the longer they have been together, so they have a higher chance to win today. With how they've been drafted so far in this game, they're looking pretty good, especially when they're going for this more team fight oriented style with this Victor lock in.
Yep, trying to find those big AoEs, chains of corruptions, magnet storms, chaos storms, bringing everything together into those big bubbles. No Jin to take over means the squishies might fare a better chance up against something like an Ezreal or a Corki, provided they stay in line with the game.
Yeah, I actually think this might be one of the first games we're seeing Nulu on this Victor pick because it's usually side like a Syndra, side like the Corki, and most importantly, the Azir got banned away from him, so he's going to be on somebody, yes, he's still comfortable with because he is one of the veterans on this team, but it's going to be interesting to see how he will pilot something that we haven't seen this split so far. As both the teams are going through their second ban phasing, the side of Natives are trying to ban away supports that can help the Ezreal. I think they're expecting this Maokai to go towards the jungle because we saw last game, if there was an Emilio for the side of Natives, that Maokai was so annoying to try and deal with because even though his ultimate is so slow, you just can't escape it.
Yeah, it's massive area denial, right? Even if you don't have the ability to catch anybody out with it, they're still backpedaling, they're still on the defensive, so it's massive control. And instead, it is splitting the difference somewhat. Unless you're expecting an Ivern support, they're just trying to pinch out what they find to be the most annoying. And to be fair, Ivern certainly fits the bill.
Yeah, Ivan, some champions that people are not very used to, mostly because it has a really weird pattern of jungle farming where it can say, okay, I'll pick you up later, let me go downtown, get a kill, and then come back. So now it gives natives a little bit more safety in these lanes to not be going against someone as heavily gankable as an Ivan. As Nord Esports still need to pick out their support, I'm expecting them to go for probably a team fight comp as well. The Alistar is going to get locked in, a very good counter against the Rel. Of course, you have the headbutt boop, making sure that whenever Rel tries to go in, she isn't staying in, you're getting her straight away out. And now they have to pick their top laner. The last time both of these two teams played, of course, it's Niall versus Smurfy. Smurfy had a very terrible time in this matchup, mostly because he was constantly getting tower dove, and that was the big reason Natives lost that last game because of that first tower dive against them. So now that the side of Natives have a counter pick into them, hopefully it should be a lot easier in that top lane matchup. Of course, we know that the Aatrox is his main champion, has been banned away for him, the Cassante as well. So there are so many different options into the Gnar, but someone that can get onto him and stick onto him is probably the best.
Yep, the self-proclaimed Aatrox one trick will have to be digging a little bit deeper into his champion pool. Played up against it yesterday in the first game of the week, and instead grabbing it himself, Jace to counteract some of the poke that this Nord team has. Trying to keep up with Ezreal Corki, though, a tall task. And it will be Smurfy, Rusty, trying to keep pace with Warzy and Merbs. These are going to be spells that may determine fights before you even see them manifest on screen.
Yeah, and both of these teams are doing the rock, paper, scissors, but have gone for both kind of rock. Mostly because both of them are going for the and with their poke style, the reason they actually want to go for this, because when you think about it, you have a Varus, you have a Victor, and you have a Jace on our side, compared to stuff like a Corki and a Nard that can do the exact same thing on the opposite team.
I really want to ask you guys, how do we feel about seeing Corky there after last night?
Corki for me is hard to say the least, mostly because remember everybody last time, Nativz versus Verdant. That one Corki rocket that killed that Baron lost us the game.
I don't want to. I'm not having any fun at all with this champion. It is the exact opposite of hype to be, which is crazy for a champion with a massive team fight turner, right? With package, special delivery, but he's the anti-team fight. You can't really gank him. He Valks out. You can't really chip away with him because he'll match it. He's hybrid damage. He's just not hype, not exciting. There's no interest there. He's just gonna be useful, play for late, and contribute. I guess there's no excitement there.
No excitement. Well, unless we're waiting for him to give the last shot on a Nexus. But anyway, I feel like the bans that Nord had today were very personal to all of the games, especially to the ones that we had like this week and the past one, banning Aatrox and Azir as well, which is your favorite sandbag.
Yep, making sure that you're continuing to target out champions that they've proven themselves on, right? It's Azirs. These are champions with playmaking, right? Interesting champions who can make things happen on the map and not just sit there and throw spells at you from a screen and a half away.
Okay, no, I have to defend this hero, right? I understand Corki hurt us. Corki, destroyed our hearts with Nativz as we lost that game yesterday. But that champion can be interesting later on into the game. Imagine, alright, close your eyes. Valkyrie into the backline, dealing huge damage, completely splitting the game in half and winning the game. And this is native side, by the way, so it's better for us. See, that's actually
Do you know what
interesting.
happens? Do you know what happens when Corki splits a fight with his package?
He gets
Every
one
single
shot,
time.
usually.
He just gets one shot.
Yeah.
He dives in and turns to dust on the spot.
It's just sad. Can we talk a little bit about the supports?
Yeah, that's actually something that I wanted to go into a little bit more depth on. Mostly because both of these supports are kind of, well, one's known and one's unknown. Shai Katami, of course, our support on Nativz is coming from the Turkish league. Been around for years upon years. Someone who's been solidified, the first person for Nativz to pick up, compared to the support of Romeo, who is brand new to this league. And in less than a year, has already got to Division 1 NLC.
That's definitely going to be interesting. And it's game time. So let's see how it goes.
As we see Summoner's Rift manifesting before our very eyes, a little bit of poking and prodding. Scouted out, however, and back to the 5-point start. Zath, game 1 of the week, not the way we want it. Game 2, is this the redemption arc? Is this how we turn it around, or what's the bet on this one?
I think they can definitely turn it around. Both of these team comps, if they get ahead, they're going to be really difficult to try and deal against, because both of these teams, like we said beforehand, are going to be poke oriented. So both of these teams will most likely either play for mid lane or their AD carries, and maybe on the side of Nativz they can even play for top lane. But the player I really want to take a look at is Smurfy, and seeing how he does when he isn't on this Aatrox pick, because the last time we didn't actually see him on Aatrox was against Nord, and he did have a few difficulties on a champion like Cassante. So now it's a side that's a little bit more skill oriented. We're going to be interested to see how well he can pilot it into somebody who is as strong as Nile in the top lane.
Yep, trying to push him a little bit outside of his box that we touched on in draft, right? Comfort is going to be taken away, and it is something that we have mentioned where this Nativz team looks like they love this style. Varus, however, is in the wheelhouse, is in the immediate, if you reach to something, you pick it up here for Sniper, so perhaps the bot lane, as you see them getting prio in front of you, continue to bully out and maybe turn this into a tangible lead down the line.
Yeah, and the benefit from having Rusty snipe on the Varus is in the early game, Nativz have full pressure down in the bot lane. They can always get priority when they want. And even later in this game, when we think about the engage tools on the side of Nord, of course, Alistar, you have Maokai as well. But now they actually have somebody who can tank it off Shari Katami. And the rest of them, it's going to be really hard to get onto a Varus that doesn't want to just auto-attack. He's just going to be poking with his arrows from miles away.
Yep, chipping away with those piercing arrows. And speaking of chipping away, down to 300 HP is this Corki. Nulu on Victor, really starting to make this Yordle pay.
Yeah, Victor in the early game is going to be winning out against Warseed, mostly because it has better push pressure. Also, it can win out in long extended trades. That's what you see exactly here. They've won bot side, they've won mid lane. Allow Shai Katami to just walk in and tell Roshan, you are not allowed to take your red buff without me coming to annoy you.
Yep, just trying to harass a little bit, trying to hassle, trying to see if he can gain some information. Not able to quite scout out so far, and the crash down over the wall, just going to be moving back to his side of the map.
Going to be going exactly the way he wants to. And this is one thing that we didn't actually mention too much is Nativz. They have priority top, have priority mid, and have priority bot. So now this is all the side of Jakey to try and find these leads using the pressure his teammates can find. Because a lot of the times when we see Nativz play, they always have usually most of their lanes not having priority, and all they're trying to do is huddle up until they can get to the late game when most of their team comps really thrive.
I do love that here out of Jake. He knows he's on his way to the scuttle. Just walk up, slap him a couple times, take 100 HP away from the Corki, and move on with his day. No harm, no foul.
I mean, it's a Corki early game. You said he's a boring champion later on. In the early game, he is a absolute sleeper of a champion. Because you just let him in this mid lane against Nulu. They'll poke out each other here and there, but it isn't going to be the major contention point for both of these teams.
Yeah, and I guess you're absolutely right in terms of some of my bitterness stemming from the previous game, as we see Romeo starting to lurk here. The wave is stacking, so Nulu is correctly hovering the left side of his screen, trying to step away from the oncoming gank. Romeo pushing him backwards, but the CS will still be acquired.
That is actually very clean gameplay coming out from Nulu, because if he stepped even slightly right or forward, he was just instantly going to get flashed on and killed. But because of he put his W below him, if they ever went for that engage, they would have been stunned up, easily been able to flash out yet again, and would have got a kill from it. And now that Nativz have soaked up all of that pressure, and haven't lost anything for it.
Playing their own flash shattering strikes onto the Maokai. Roshan under fire. He's got 100 HP left to his name. Rel trying to finish it, but instead Nulu grabs it up with the dot, absorbing the gank and turning it around. Roshan falls. Nulu getting first blood.
Yeah, Roshan thought he was safe having Warsy and Romeo around him, but now that they've actually killed him, this should be 3 scuttlers over to the side of Nativz without any contention. And compared to the first time both these teams have met, this is a completely different look to Nativz, and this is showing how much growth is coming out for both of these teams. As not alone has bot lane been winning, mid lane's been able to soak up the special, and even Smurfy, somebody that we've said may have some difficulty on different champions, so far in this game already has over a 10 CS lead and pushed in this wave. So it's looking really good for Nativz here.
Self-proclaimed Aatrox one trick no longer so far into this game. Granted, 6 minutes might be early to call it, but all signs pointing to green here for Nativz early on.
Yeah, green, and green. And even with Victor getting the kill in the early game, that's definitely going to help. Already getting himself those lucidity boots. The main reason that he wants to go for this early on into the game is so he can just keep spamming out those abilities. Whenever the team is like, hey, we need this wave pushed, we need you to come down, it's going to be so much easier for him to do, because Corki just can't do anything against this when he only has a tier and a longsword to his name.
Yep, definitely a long way from the a clear and present danger that he becomes later on into the game once he gets some items stacked up. And in the meantime, exploit it where you can. Double tiers can be picked up for Nord versus one of Nativz. Stacking, scaling, both of them looking towards the future.
Yeah, both teams actually looking towards the dragon. Engage.
Flash, 2-man shattering strike out of the Rel. Does get the cleanse out of Merbs, and both junglers lurking. Jakey waiting in the brush, Roshan over the wall. Both of them are looking to make a play here.
I don't even think that even if this play doesn't work, they can just push this out, and now that have priority in both mid and bot lane from that first kill allows them to start this dragon without any contention. They need to wait for Merbs to push out this wave. Warzy is completely under tower, so he can't move, so Nord is just going to give this up for free. And with only one kill over to the side of Nativz, they have over 1,000 gold leaders. You can just see in the mid lane, Nulu is absolutely bullying out Warzy here.
Yep, there is a bunch of CS to be grabbed up, to be fair here. So this blue side jungle will continue to be pushed into and try to deny the XP, which they will do. So there you go. The range creep starting to fall. They see him on the sweeper. X-Flash channeled out over the wall. But this time, you saw the difference between two mid plays, right? Nulu leans and comes back to get his creeps. Warzy watches them die in front of him.
Yeah, and that's mostly because of Shari Katami going for a good roam timer, just holding himself in that raptor camp. Because Warzy knows if he goes anywhere near these, he is going to get engaged on, is going to die and lose the wave as well. And he isn't going to just lose the gold, he'll lose the XP instead. So instead, he is just going to wait there, just grab the XP and lose the gold. So these small subtle plays coming out from Nativz are slowly building up and slowly getting to them, or slowly getting them to a point where they can start looking for these big fights, and they should be winning. Because when we look below at the actual gold leads, every single person on the side of Nativz has a lead or is even.
Yep, either square or slightly building a lead, so just make sure you're continuing to build up to this, right? Death by 1,000 paper cuts, a Drake here, some grubs there, some gold there, and they start to build. They do certainly snowball, so looking to continue to extend this lead.
Yeah, and even the biggest thing on the side of Nativz is the later the game goes, they are still very good in this team fighting comp. So even if they weren't able to find this lead, I still feel like this Nativz comp will be coming out on top. However, they are doing a great job at pushing this lead. But if they want to push this further, now that level 6 is finally onto Jakey, is either constantly making plays around the mid lane of Warzy, as we know that his flash isn't available, or making a play bot side, which I think I'd like even more, onto Mervs when Romeo goes for a play like this in the top side.
Remember, from the Hex Flash here, although we have to hold that for the top lane, the R rather than Maokai is going to be channeled here. Smurfa using the move speed from the hammer form to just scoot on out. Hustling his way out, no flash needed, absorbing another gank out of Roshan.
Yeah, Romeo not going for the flash forward there. I think if he did that, that would have actually been a kill, but being scared that Smurfette was going to trade that, I still think that was even worth it. While the side of Nativz are able to stop that from happening, on the bot side, Rusty Sniper's already getting himself a tower plate, so the more that they keep soaking up this pressure, the better they'll do on these side lanes when they're finally isolated.
Yep, 2 looks out of Roshan, 3 if you count the bot hover, and yet nothing to come of it so far, which just slows him down. Down 10 CS, a couple of camps on the other side for Jakey in the meantime. Objectives as well. When you're looking for plays and not finding them, junglers will punish, and Jakey taking full advantage.
Yeah, these Rift Scuttlers are actually going to be really useful on the comp that Nativz has built, because when you go for a comp that is more poke heavy, that means you are going to try and poke them on the tower, allowing you to get more tower hits, and they can go for a pretty good 4-1 with Smurfette on these side lanes, and if he's left alone for a little bit too long, with 6 Void Grubs, it can be very difficult to deal with.
Sniper clearing the wave as best as he can, chains of corruption, locking down the Alistar and preventing him from finding the engage, plus the big burst of damage once you stack up that blighted quiver. Romeo losing half his HP on another look.
Yeah, and it's looking really bad on the side of Nord because they haven't been able to find anything in this early game. They are just trying their best to find side, but nothing is really working out. Roshan and Romeo feel like they're kind of in the same page, but kind of not, and because of that, Nativz constantly just have answers for what they want to do. And the biggest thing I've seen from Nord when they find these wins is all about those two matching up and Romeo being the first ones to start these plays. However, he isn't level 6 yet on this Alistar, so if he goes in and it slightly goes wrong, he's just instantly dead.
Yep, always nice to have a reliable go button player. In this case, you have the Maokai ultimate, yes, but the Alistar even quicker. So making sure that you have a way of kicking off a fight on your favor. As we see continued movement, jungles and sups, pushing up, pushing out mid, giving reset timers over and over and over and over.
Yeah, Warzy probably can finish first item when he finds the reset here, if I do believe I'm correct on the gold amount. And it's just good plays coming out from Nord, making sure that their laners can survive. Corki, remember, at 2 items is going to start feeling pretty strong. At 3, he's going to feel completely overpowered. So the longer they're able to hold Corki in the mid lane, the better it'll be, but Romeo's in danger.
Is indeed here. Aftershock proc to absorb the worst of the first damage, plus the Unbreakable Will here for that flat pen. He has the resistances, but loses Flash and R for the cost of effectively nothing but time out of Nativz.
Yeah, that flash getting taken out there and the ultimate means when next dragon is spawned in the next 2 seconds, they can't contest this. So this is basically free for Nativz to take, and they can always bully Merbs off of his tower if they want to do that instead. Because remember, Alistar did have to reset after that, but instead it is just going to be the second dragon over with the side of Nord yet again trying to look for a play, but it just doesn't seem to be working out.
Not at all so far. It is a look from Nativz, gets a small lead. A look from Nord, doesn't find it. Over and over the pattern repeats, and they look to cash in here onto Merbs. Lens is back available. E plus Flash as well. CC's gonna fly through. Rel ultimate on top of the Vi, and they blow him up. Never stood a chance. TP flies in from both tops, but this is just lambs to the slaughter underneath the tower as one. Smurfy sets them up. Here comes the cavalry. The Rel has arrived. Triple kill to Varus. Nativz with all the answers go 4-0 up.
Yeah, Rusty Snipe having 3 kills to his name as well has been accelerated massively off that play. And it was just mostly because of Nord going for the play up top side. Roshan using his ultimate, Romeo not deciding if he wanted to go bot or mid lane, kind of in no man's land. Nativz instantly went for the play, were on the same page, and it just feels like Nativz are just out macroing Nord in every single sense of the word.
Absolutely, they're everywhere to answer. Roshan looking constantly, Romeo looking constantly, and finding faces just staring at him, daring him to make a play that he know cannot work, and as a result, they simply just lose out over and over.
Yeah, and the difficulty thing is on the side of Nord is it's gone on the exact champions you don't want it to be, because there's a 2.7 thousand gold lead in 14 minutes in this ADK position over to the side of Nativz, and even mid lane as well, 1.6 over their enemy laners, even though they have 1 item apiece. Nativz are just so far accelerated where Nord can't ever contest anything, and now just have to mostly give stuff up and have already lost their mid lane tower.
Mid lane tower, Para Drake, 6 grubs, meaning the Void Mites will be present in this game. You see him spawning up 2, considering they swept the grubs. And the gold lead at this point in the game is ballooning out of control. Nord have to find a play soon, or this snowball will turn to an avalanche.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. Like I said, I feel like it was from the start that the team comp on the side of Native was looking super powerful, as they will be looking for Nulu, but JK is completely here, so I don't think they're going to be able to go for this.
Here to match it, Twisted Advance here onto the mid laner. Nulu is going to be taking some damage. Here comes the Vi ultimate onto Merbs, flashing away from the tree, trying to find the laser, the Chaos Storm, the shield from the Q! Finished off by the AD carry as Romeo and Merbs equalize the play, but still, short-handed, Nativz go 1 for 1.
Yeah, I felt like Jake, if he ulted straight away to Merbs, even if he had the cleanse available, would have had that Q, as Merbs is the whole entire damage that killed Nulu. So there is going to be a little bit of gold into its pocket, but it's still going to be mostly Nativz favored. However, a great play by Nord, that is nothing to scoff at, and if they're able to get a few more plays like that built up together, there is still a way back into this game.
Oh, absolutely. There's no stretch of the imagination to say that they are still in this one. Trying to find the plays. Romeo looking over the wall here with a Hex Flash. Going for the headbutt pull, but out of range. Rusty Sniper will get pulled all the same. The Alistar combo finishing off the turret, but here comes the Vi. Merbs is forced to flash away from the crash down. The Magnet Storm yanks him in. No retreat, they say, as the chains find the alley. The cow cut down to size, and the bot lane on Nord is down. Pause channels. They need a tactical timeout after this one.
Yeah, if I was a coach, I would be going for timeout. I'm like, guys, we're losing top, we're losing bot. We made one decent play in this game, but Nativz seem all over us. And actually, it was really smart for Nativz in that last fight, mostly because you saw we had Rusty Sniper being like, do you want to engage? I know you want to. Come on, Romeo. You like to engage here. And of course, Romeo falling for that bait, not noticing that their jungler was there, completely turning the fight around, as Nativz seem on fire today. Lisa.
Oops, it's always me. I'm sorry, guys. I was saying, as Zenbeck said before, it's just an avalanche. The snowball is turning into an avalanche, and I am loving it. Can we talk a little bit about like what's making the difference here between this game and the past one that we lost to Nord?
It's difficult to say, but I have to say Team Comp has a massive thing to do with it, because I said before about pressure not really being on our side, because we aren't able to get those pushing lays, we aren't able to help out Jakey. So whenever Jakey ever tried to make a play, he was on his own, or everybody on the side of Nativz had to scramble to try anything to help him back out. So now that he has that support, this is the difference Nativz can be.
This is the difference, and game is ready again. So let's see this.
Yep, we are gonna be quick tactical pause. No guarantees of the spectator behaving itself. So if it does hold up for just a second, bear with us. That is on Rito client, not ourselves. So appreciate the patience. But yeah, the momentum not stalled. Honestly, when you come back from the pause and look at it with fresh eyes, just take stock of where Nativz find themselves in this game.
I mean, Nulu doesn't have flash. That is an opportunity on the side of Nord to try and go for a play. But I'm just thinking out of a 5v5 fight, the side of Nativz will be winning out on that. So you can just see everybody in Nord is just going around the edges, trying to hide from him, and just trying to pick up as much gold and XP. And that's one thing Nord can do quite effectively. It's pushing these waves. They got a Corki, Ezreal, and Niall on that Gnar. All three of these champions are ranged and can defend quite easily using it.
Okay, ultimate gonna be thrown out. Smurfy just stepping back underneath the refuge of his tower, absorbs another Maokai gank top.
Yeah, and when I'm actually looking at the dragon, it's spawning in 15 seconds. No ultimate is going to be available for Roshan. No flash as well on him or Merbs. So I feel like the side of Nord do just need to give this one up yet again. And they have to contest this third one, as we can already see that Nativz are using this Rift Herald instead just to get themselves towards this dragon. Okay, so usually I like to point out the good things that players do. Alright? I could not condone that from Nulu. That was that was troll, and they've done so well this game, and he does that.
It doesn't change all that much, to be fair. He's a little bit quicker on the rotation. That's the net positive here.
I did say they did have better macro. That's why he did it. He did it so he could be
Tempo
faster
Herald.
there.
However, much quicker to the play here is going to be the mid-support combo. No glory in that death. Merbs just executed by Nulu and Xiaoyin.
The funny thing is, he wouldn't have been able to make it all the way up and all the way back without using that Rift Herald. So maybe he's 220, 1000 IQ brain dust, and that was the best Rift Herald you have ever seen. So again, pressure into this mid lane, getting priority up top side as well. It's just looking good for Nativz.
Headbutt Pulve already expended, and Rusty Sniper took all of about 100 HP. The ultimate out of this Ezreal will chip him down to half. And yet up on the top side, they're going to try and find a play other side of the map. Finding their way onto Smurfy Warzy under the blast cone. Shut down. Corki picking up Jace.
Sometimes Nativz just want the game to feel close. This is for you viewers at home to enjoy the game a bit more. That's why we had the Rift Herald play. That's why we had top play. This is tactical inting to make this game feel closer than it is. That's the only thing I can think of, Sandbag.
Yeah, that one was for the fans. That one will definitely
the
be
homies.
clipped and posted. That one will definitely resurface next time Smurfy is appearing in the interview. It's only good thing he was on yesterday as opposed to today and doesn't have to rewatch that one with the rest of us.
Yeah, that's the problem, because we gave him so many praises yesterday about how much he's really grown into this season and how good he's been looking on the Aatrox. And I was even going to sing his praises more, but like, you're looking very good off your usual comfortable champions, especially, I believe he had like a 14% win rate on Jace. He told us about the other day. And I think I'm starting to see why he had a 14% win rate if he makes plays like that in solo queue.
Okay, I'm going to pump the brakes. It's all well and good. We've all done it. We've all flashed in the walls. Take a look at the gold lead, right? Funny meme plays aside, this game is still not close. It's going to take a lot more Nativz inting to pull this one in. 10k up at this point in the game. Damage is just exorbitant.
Yeah, it's absurd how far ahead the Nativz roster has got themselves to be. 3 items complete on your AD carry at 21 minutes is something that is not meant to happen in League of Legends, as it's just been accelerated beyond compare. There comes a possibility if they find any kills here against Nord, that they can go for Baron.
Rel on the minimap. Trying to find the angle here. Vi is going to kick this one off, finding the stun onto the support. Magnustorm onto 2, jungle and sub tied up, but back damage the other way. Xiaoi's going to be burning down, knocking the Gnar out to avoid a big scoop. He does find one of his own Rusty Sniper over the wall. Romeo holding them back from the immediate poke. The Q to finish the job. He's not tanky at all. Flashing forwards, blood in his eyes. Nulu's picking up 2 of his own. The play looked good at first, but the wallets are dropped on Nord's head.
Yeah, it was looking so good. Nord played it in the best way possible, but they are just so far behind. They aren't going to be able to win out that team fight. With 2 members strong, it means that Nativz will not be able to go for this Baron, mostly because they don't have their jungler or a tank to be that front line to allow them to deal damage against it. However, Nativz being able to get that 1 tower towards their name and still in a great position for the next dragon in 1 minute 30.
Yep, 90 seconds towards that straight up soul. This is normally the point in time where you're knocking around the kind of soul point territory, right? Trying to claim maybe your 2nd or 3rd. This is straight up 4 incoming here, and you've got a minute and 20 seconds on the side of Nord to come up with a game plan. Because if I'm looking at 3-item poke Varus with Infernal, it's cooked.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to deal against that. However, if they do actually give this over, there's a possibility, a very slight one, if not able to get up this Elder Dragon, that can turn the pace of the game. But with a 10,000 gold lead, that is very slim margins to make work. But we did see Nord, with a 10,000 gold lead, still put up a hell of a fight, because their front-to-back team fight is very strong compared to the side of Nativz, mostly because their tanks of the Alistar, the Maokai, and the Gnar, even if you do have a lot of damage, that is a lot of HP to try and get through. So if Nord are able to get into this back line, able to burst one of them out, there is a possibility to win that 4 versus 5.
Absolutely. The other thing that I'm looking for is this tool on the way in is Gnarled. That was kicked out the first time by the Vi Q, so he wasn't able to find the backline, only got 1. But if this is 3, 4, maybe even the amazing Wet Dream 5-man Gnarled, that could be your moment to turn it around.
But we're going to have to see as this is going to be a sole point over to the side of Nativz. They get this, they are going to most likely win this game. The amount of extra damage they will get on their poke champions. So everybody's just waiting to go in.
Nord's got to try and find their hold. They have given and given and given, and here they pull the trigger onto the backlines. They go, trying to find a random Rusty Sniper, and they do! Nord pick him up. Now the damage to fly in. Nulu next on the chopping block if they can find it, but don't have the damage to finish the job. Roshan trying his desperate best, will eventually pick it up after the stopwatch, turning it into a 3 for 3. Smite is down here for Nativz, meaning that Maokai can ignore Rel, finish the job himself, smite it away, and Nord hang on.
And they're hanging on in the best way possible. With that dragon now secured, they have another 5 minutes to make sure that this gold lead is slowly getting thinner. Because beforehand, we saw it was 10k, now it has turned down to 8. And the main reason that worked out for Nord was Shoei Katami was on the side trying to find a flank himself, but he wasn't that tank in that front line that I felt like the side of Nativz needed, allowing them to instantly get into that back line, burst out Rusty Sniper, and Nulu and Smurfy, they tried to do as much as they could to turn this around. Even with the amount of damage they had, they just couldn't do enough 4 versus 5, allowing Nord to get the fight to 2 members each, and Roshan, of course, being the only jungler left, was able to pick up that dragon.
Credit where it's due. We were joking about how quirky packages always end in disaster when used in the middle of 5, but he sent it to the backlines and came up victorious on that front here, as the fight's going to be channeling out the TP. Mega Gnar has arrived. Wait out the timer. They pay respect to the spell, they pay respect to the sum, and back out.
You know, able to at least get the teleport out of Niles. They will have an advantage on this, but because of them having to go towards the top side, Nord are able to just push out this mid lane, get themselves a bounty, and that's an extra 150 gold into their pocket, as Nord are still fighting their way back into this game, because they aren't out of it just yet.
Not at all. We are talking about hanging on, and they will do so, right? Picking up a Drake, pushing them back off the Baron. It's still a long way to climb, but they're making the first couple of steps, but they need more answers. Roshan hanging out. The only one nearby as the Baron is whittled down is going to be trying to find a way onto the engage.
Yeah, it's all about Roshan. Can he get in?
Wait, Katami going golden. Bi ultimate's gonna be channeled up, and Mervs is gonna be exploded. The 80 carry goes the other way this time. Rusty the first time, Mervs the second, and without the Ezreal, what do they have left in the tank? Nord slipping away from that JCQ. Accelerated Shock Blast not finding the mark, and backing away with their pick our names.
Yeah, they may have been able to get Mervs, but look at everybody's HP bar, less than half HP, and there's nothing you can really do, especially with Warzy having his ultimate available with so many of those rockets. He can start poking you out, and that's just too much of a dangerous situation for Nativz to try and take balance. They are just going to just alleviate it and just wait. So Nord, yet again, even though they lost a member, are able to hold on and shrink this gold lead to only 7,000 now.
Yep, down to 7,000 is still a pretty rough sentiment for the Nord fans creeping around here, and yet down is encouraging, right? It is still headed in that direction, but a long way to go. What's next on the table? Where are we looking?
Well, we always have to set your eyes onto the onto this red dragon, of course, because if the side of Nativz are able to pick this up, their poke damage is going to be astronomical against this. Because you can already see Merbs there. Almost got taken out. Add on that Infernal Soul. I think he's on a blinking HP bar, or maybe even dead.
Yep, JCQ landed as well, right? So that would have been 2 procs of the Infernal Soul. That probably does the job. That second proc probably does do it. So, again, we are talking about how important it was. They hold, and now they just continue this Baron dance over and over. Start it, get resources. Start it, get resources. Don't get caught.
Yes, it would be difficult to not get caught because of how easy the engage is on the side of Nord. So they need to try and get in, they need to kill Merbs or Warzy and somehow get out, and that is so difficult to do against champions like Alistar, Roshan and Nile, which have so many ways of trying to stop you from getting on top of him.
Yep, trying to play keep away, right? Trying to make sure that they're able to continue this poke style they want, because items are certainly filtering in. Warzy finishing his 3rd is on pace with Smurfette. Ezreal's got 2.5 of his own, looking to finish that last set of components. The damage is starting to creep up for these Nord carries.
Yeah, and that's one issue on the side of Nativz, is when you go for a lethality build on someone like Rusty Sniper, he's got his 4 items, he has a control ward in the next one. He's basically at max build already, so they need to finish off the game sooner rather than later, because at some point Nord is going to start catching up, and that's basically already happening. So we have 4 items completed onto Nulu, and already 3.5 with Warzy, and I said, once Warzy gets to those 3 items, he is online.
Trying to make sure that you end the game before you run out of slots. That time is not upon us, but it is en route as Merbs eats another piercing arrow for a 3rd of his HP, but mid-wave in control of Nord.
Yeah, Nord can just walk in here. Nulu and Shagutami trying their best to try and stop this, but Warzy with that package means they have to be very careful on how they try and position this. As for the side of Nativz, they really need to make sure that they aren't the ones walking into Nord here.
Nope, but it is Nord brute forcing them away. The Narbar they must pay respect to as well, as he's about to flip over to Mega. 4k HP. Warzy's going to try and finish the job, and he will do so as Mega is pumped. He has Crunch. He uses it for the slam into the wall, and they find their pick on the Jakey. Burning down as he goes. Chains of Corruption to heal to try and buy some time for his jungler, but the flash away. Finds a way out of the Gnar engage, but his team is pulled apart left-hand side of your screen. Nulu's going to be putting the damage to Alistar. Now the reinforcements arrive. Murphy, the solo lane's trying to fight their way out of a 2v4, but the DPS flies in. The Corki's able to finish the job. Okay, I have it. Oh, it's minimized though. It's like tiny. I'm looking at the thumbnail. The same for anyone else?
Same for Hi guys. Sorry for everybody who doesn't know. We tried to play my playcast, not seeing the screen, but we finally can.
As we do see the screen in front of our very eyes, the team fight is going to be kicking off here as Warzy's able to pick up Jakey to the skies in the pit, come up the pit. The DC again, it's Dumpy.
You know what, Sandbag? I think it was good we didn't see that fight for everybody at home because it did not go the way of Nord. Oh, sorry, it did go the way of Native yet again. As Native did lose that fight, lockdown as well. And there's actually a possibility for Nord to try and go for the end here. Rusty Sniper is the only player left on the team. Unfortunately for him, he does have the empowered to do this. He has to do everything he can to defend it.
Yep, he's got a Baron, so he does have those empowered minions, but he's staring down the barrel of 5 Nord members. They're looking to close this one out in front of him, trying to find the last stand, the hero moment. Does he have anything left to give? One more second for that ultimate. The headbutt will knock him into the wall. The pole as well. He's going to be CC'd up. The towers fall. It is going to be the last stand of Rusty Sniper, cut tragically short. Nord claim it.
That was really sad. I almost regret watching the end. I feel like they just lost because we weren't there to support them, for a few minutes. Um, let's take a second of silence. But can we talk a little bit about what went wrong here? We were doing well.
Um. Okay. What went wrong? Let's first begin with
List.
Somebody's our producer's power died, so the stream went off. Me and Sandbag for about 2-3 minutes were pretending to play-by-play and color cast a screen we couldn't see, but we both saw the start of that fight and knew that Nativz was losing, so we weren't very joyous about it. And then I was like, I hope that Baron's up, at least Nativz can take that. And then of course Nord win the fight, Nord get the Baron, Nord end the game. And it went from a 10,000 gold lead of, wow, this is a great stream. Really well done, Nativz, to stream crashes, Nativz mental and gameplay crashes and burns. And now we're in a situation where, what do you say except for you don't know what went wrong, but something clearly did.
Yeah, I feel that the odds weren't in our favor tonight. That's all that happened. Maybe next week will be better. Who knows? Sandbag, you seem very disappointed. Can you share a little of your feelings with us? Oh,
It's just always the bridesmaid, never the bride. This week was 2 plays away from being 2-0. It is a single mid-wave. It is a single soul fight away from it being 2-0. And yet, on this, the week of Valentine's Day, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, can't convert it. It's so close. It's right there, but we fall to 0-2 in the week. And like you said, where did it go wrong?
Sandbag, I'm not gonna lie, right? I was gonna make a joke about us winning this game and saying that we're still single. We won 1 game this week, and then I was gonna make the joke of, oh, we're in a relationship. We won 2 games this week. I can't say either. All I can say is like, Nativz deserve both wins, and this is the thing that aggravates me so much because this Nativz roster, nobody can say before the last, let's say, 5-10 minutes, Nativz were clearly the best team. Their early game was absolutely phenomenal. They were outplaying them every which way, but something happened when one play went bad, another one, and it just feels like the biggest issue with this Nativz roster is they don't know how to close out the game.
that maybe they're lacking of teamwork every now and then.
It's hard because I can't say that it is teamwork because you saw them at the start of this game. You need teamwork to do what they're doing. I just don't know what's happening in the final third that's going so wrong for this roster.
Yeah, something just happened, and we're actually going to interview the coach in just a few minutes. So I'm very curious to hear from him what he thinks. Uh, but before we go into that, I just wanted to remind people that are watching us that now we finally have our t-shirts on our store. And if you want to acquire our merch, you can just use comment store and you get the link. Also, we are having our watching party that is being hosted by Honeyvi, our community manager. And after the stream, the coach will also be there to answer more questions that we won't have the time to cover during the stream. But yeah, so next week, guys, Wednesday, we are playing against a team that we haven't played this season yet. We're playing against, and I always struggle to say their name, uh Lundqvist Light Side.
It's Lungfist Light Side. I've
Yes.
had to cast them. If you think that team is difficult to say, anybody at home, if you try and say Kalavan, I can't even say it. Like you know what team I'm talking about. From that, I'm not trying it again. That team in Division Two is the most difficult name to say.
It's almost a tongue twister. But what do we think about next week's game about the team with a very difficult name to pronounce?
Well, Longfix Light Side, of course, coming up from Division Two, I've had the benefit of casting for them and against them many times. And I don't know. I think natives should be favored. I think, but I don't know at this point after these last two games.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say, but we finally have the coach ready. So welcome, John. Hello,
Hey guys, how's it going?
hello. Can we get him on stream? Yeah, cool. So how do you feel after this game? I imagine you have a lot to say about it.
Furious would be the word. Um, there's not much else to say. I think today was another example of us being in a winning position and failing to execute upon what our game plan was in the final third.
Mhm. Do you feel like there's something that can be fixed for next week so they learn how to close a game that is basically theirs?
So the issue it's not so much knowing how to do it, right? The guys know how to do it. We do go over these things religiously. It's just remembering that there's no real sense of urgency. Like you can see in most of our losses, there's always a decision, a step that is skipped, where we're just going in for no reason, or we're not setting up. You can see with the dragon, for example, on the soul point here in this game, where it just turns into a bit of a disaster for no real reason other than, hey, we forgot to do this. So
Mm. Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
a tough one, right? It's a tough one to fix.
it
yeah,
is a tough one.
that's one thing I actually really wanted to talk to you about because, of course, the two games today, if we remind ourselves of the one at the start of the week, you only lost that because you did push out that mid wave. And it's always these
Yeah.
minor mistakes that have got you to these losses. And being somebody who's watched all of your games, your early games are incredible. And that's one thing I want to give the whole entire Natives team really a massive congratulations on is from the start of the season to now, your early games have been absolutely phenomenal. Like on cast today, I was saying, wow, look at the plays you guys have been making. But I'm mostly just curious about like how has the team like been in this early game? Like how have you been able to make all of these early game plays being able to work?
So, if I'm being real with you, I don't believe this is like we are a super strong early game team or whatever, right? I think if you look at the league and compare it to last season, there are way more rookies in the league just now. So the standard is it's not great, right? Like if you look at the standings, whenever there's a league that every team is so close, you've got 6 teams that are one game within each other out of 8 teams. The chances are it's because none of the teams are great, and we're showing ourselves we lack the conviction to the end the games. That's why we're losing. That's why it's tight, right? Other teams, it might be the laning phase is not so hot, and maybe they're not getting priority in matchups they should, or the jungler's being punished, whatever it might be. Um, a lot of the resources that they should be getting, they're not getting. So it's just one of those ones where I don't think we are particularly great early, but it might look like it because the enemy teams don't really fully understand what they should be doing.
Mhm. Yeah, and where do you want to see natives in? a year time, maybe?
In a year from now, hopefully established as one of the top teams in the league. I think that's the goal for everyone here after the success of last split. We wanted to build a roster that we could take through the year and sort of establish ourselves as that. It's a lot of work to put into it, and we'll continue to do so. But that's hopefully where we are come the end of the year.
What do you believe that are like the biggest strengths of the team?
The biggest strengths of the team. Hmm.
Tough
Or I,
question.
s- or I suppose
Yeah,
maybe more interesting of what do you take pride in, right? Something that you think if you say the early game is you kind of hold it together. Is there something that you feel you kind of this is something that you have nailed down that you kind of take pride in?
do we accept that? I'm not too sure. Honestly, like I don't think we're particularly great at anything right now. And I think the guys know that and we talk about it. I think we have a lot to work on and we need to stay humble in that way. Like I don't want to turn around and say, hey, great, we're great at laning phase. We might be in comparison or we might be in early game in comparison to the rest of the NLC, but that's not really where I want our aims to be. So right now I think we are a team that's a work in progress. I don't think there's particular things that we excel at. Um, in terms of what we're good at, I would say we're good at skirmishing, looking at 2v2s, 3v3s, these sort of things. You've seen a lot yesterday with Smurfy popping off in that sense. That's probably our only real strength right now. Our late game macro needs to improve. Our objective takes need to improve. There's still a lot of laning phase issues where we're really inconsistent with. Yes, in competitive games, maybe we are finding leads, but you know, I'm seeing the opposite of that through the scrims through the week. So the the real answer here is that, yes, we might be in comparison to NLC have a few strengths, but in comparison to LFL, Prime League, LVP, all these things that hopefully that's where we end up. The teams we're playing against, we've a long way to go.
Way to go, but we can get there.
Yeah.
And well, hopefully we can have a better performance next week. We're playing on Wednesday at 9 p.m. CET and on Thursday at 8 p.m. CET. I'm looking forward to these games. And before we wrap it up today, I just wanted to remind everyone about the comments that we have here on the chat. First one is comment IECS, which is Ireland Esports Collegiate Series, powered by Nativz, providing esports competitions for students in Ireland. We also have our sponsors. So Oxen, our official kit partners, items of our merch are available on their website on Common Oxen, but also on our app's website on Common Store. And Allotment, our official purpose partner, acting to preserve the coral reefs of Koh Tai, Thailand, and support the local communities on Common Allotment. And guys, thank you very much for being here tonight. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, John, as well, for the interview, and we'll see you next week.